ASC is fast forwarding into the year 2022. But throughout the history, what moments have you missed? Well, this series will highlight some of the best moments that have happened throughout ASC's universe history. Moments from the NASCAR Verizon Cup Series, NFL, NBA, and MLB. This is Through the Ages. On this episode, we will be recapping the 2018 NFL playoffs. This was a playoff that has to be one of the best ones ever. You've seen 2016 and 2017, but nothing compares to the storylines going into this playoffs. Teams such as the Bears and the Chargers are in the playoffs for the first time, while Brady and the Patriots and the Packers with Aaron Rodgers look to go to their first Super Bowl for Brady and their third for Rodgers. Teams such as Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson with the young quarterbacks look to also make a big difference in the league. Let's start with the standings from the year. The Chiefs and the Patriots both get the bye. Houston with Deshaun Watson wins the AFC South, and Baltimore at 10-6 wins the AFC North, with the Chargers and Raiders both slipping into the playoffs. So three AFC West teams. Key notes: the defending Super Bowl champion Steelers don't make the playoffs. In the NFC, the Rams and Packers get the byes. New Orleans wins the NFC South, and the Cowboys, for the third year in a row, win the for the second time in 3 years, wins the NFC East. Seattle's back in the playoffs, and the Bears make the playoffs over the Eagles and Carolina. So let's go into Wild Card Weekend. We'll start with this, of course, because it's first in the timeline. So the first matchup is the Raiders and the Texans. The Raiders going 9-7, Houston going 11-5, and the Texans win 21-7, getting their first career playoff win in sim history. Deshaun Watson, 2 touchdowns through the air, and Carr, 2 interceptions, was not helpful for the Raiders, one of them being a pick six. Marshawn Lynch had the only touchdown of the day for the Raiders. Amari Cooper, the leading receiver, but this game was all Houston since the kickoff. The Cowboys, they redeemed themselves after the previous year's loss to the Saints and hang on in a late comeback from the Seahawks, who were also back in the playoffs. Russell Wilson, an interception in the second quarter, really set the tone for Seattle, and then the Cowboys pulled away, but only had, I believe, just 10 points in the second half. Dak Prescott, a decent game, but still not like the Cowboys were in 2016, but they get the win. The Chargers make the playoffs for the first time, and they beat the Ravens, who are in here for the third year in a row, and get their third wild card boot. Lamar Jackson cannot get the win. He had 2 turnovers in this game, and Phillip Rivers carries the underdog Chargers to their first playoff win, and they will go up to Arrowhead next week to face the Chiefs. A decent game from Rivers. Like I said, the rookie Mark Andrews getting a touchdown. The Bears, their first playoff entrance is not one to be remembered. The Saints take the win 28-10 and get their second wild card win in a row. Mitch Trubisky, no turnovers, just wasn't accurate in this game. Jordan Howard had the only touchdown. Drew Brees, 3 touchdowns, 1 for the second-year player Alvin Kamara, and 1 for Michael Thomas as well. A good game overall from the Saints. No turnovers by either team in this game. Now let's go to the divisional round. Business picked up. The games were closer. We had better games from the quarterbacks and overall the whole team. Let's start with this one. Kansas City hangs on 37-31 from a charge from their division rivals in the Chargers. Phillip Rivers, 260 yards, 3 TDs. Mahomes, 284, 3 TDs as well. But the difference, no turnovers for the Kansas City Chiefs. And Patrick Mahomes wins his first playoff game as a starter, as the one-seat Chiefs will host the AFC Championship game. This team has been near perfect all season long. The Packers, they get the second seat for the third year in a row, and they beat the Saints 34-23. Green Bay is now 2-0 against the Saints in the playoffs. Drew Brees had a pick in this game, which really cost them. Aaron Rodgers had 2 more yards more than Drew Brees, but still had the better game. 3 TDs, no turnovers, and the Packers seem like the only team that can really thrive in Lambeau Field. Go figure, because they're the home team. But the visiting teams in the playoffs have struggled. The Patriots, for the first time, are a 2-seed, but they beat the Texans 24-14 and will go into the AFC Championship game for the third year in a row. Brady, 214 and a touchdown. Watson struggled, 2 interceptions on the day, had a passing and a rushing touchdown. The Texans' rushing yards, they only had 62 among 3 players in this game. The Patriots, both their running backs in this game, each scored a touchdown. Finally, we have the Rams beating the Cowboys. Dak Prescott loses another playoff game, his third exit from the playoffs. And again, the Cowboys won't reach the Super Bowl. 218, a TD, and a pick for Prescott. Goff, 210, 2 TDs, and the Rams, Goff had a fumble loss in this game, but that doesn't matter. 29-13, they got the win, and they'll host their first ever NFC Championship game. So let's get into it. Which teams are going to play in Super Bowl III, the NFL Conference Championship games? Here we go, the NFC Championship game in Green Bay will go to their third Super Bowl in a row. This team has a dynasty. They lost Jordy Nelson in the offseason. Didn't matter because Devontae Adams and Randall Cobb had great playoffs. Rodgers, 241, 2 TDs and a pick. Goff, 250, 2 TDs and an interception. A late field goal for Green Bay. The Rams had one more chance, and they couldn't drive down the field. And the Packers hang on the road. Again, the magical number 3 comes back. Third year in a row, they're going to the Super Bowl. In overtime, the Patriots beat the Chiefs in the closest championship weekend ever. The Patriots, the winning touchdown was a rushing one by James White in overtime. Patriots go on. Mahomes and the Chiefs, a magical season comes to an end. And we have our third Super Bowl rematch, which will be the next episode of Through the Ages. The Patriots and the Packers, Super Bowl III in the new Atlanta Stadium. The Packers are going to try and win their second Super Bowl. Tom Brady will try and win his first. This is ASC signing off.